Hi everybody, welcome to Into the Word with Phil. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless your hearts. God bless your hearts. Today we're going to talk about the blessing. What is the blessing? How does the blessing work? This is so good. I've been looking at Genesis chapter 1, 2 and 3. And in chapter 1, this is what it says. So Genesis chapter 1, and I'm reading from the New King James Version of the Bible. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it." So the blessing, this is what the blessing is. Now, the blessing, we can say, is the empowerment to go forward with God. It is God's consent. It is God's go ahead. But the way in which the blessing works is that we have to be in subjection to God. We have to be under God's rule. We have to be under God's leadership. We have to be under God's guidance. We have to be walking in the ways of God. Now, we all know what that is because the Bible tells us what that is. It is to do the word and not just hear the word. For there be many who only hear the word, but in fact they do not do the word. So to be blessed, an individual has to go in accordance with the word, to hear the word and then to do the word. So God says to Adam and he says to Eve, in fact he said it to all humankind, go forward, replenish the earth, fill the earth, subdue it, have dominion, have authority. Okay, so that's what the blessing is. Now you can live your life in your own way without God's blessing on your life, doing your own thing. In fact, when you do that, you're rogue. You have gone rogue. You're on your own. Even though you may be a believer, but you're going your own way. Now, who wants to do that? Not me. I want to walk with God. I want God's blessing to be on my life. I want God's consent to be on my life. I want God's authorization to be on my life. I want God's go ahead on my life. I want God to be with me. How am I going to do that? I'm going to walk in his ways. I'm not only going to hear the word, but I'm also going to do the word. I don't want to be rogue. I don't want to be out there all by myself, trying to get through, trying to navigate through this life. No, I want to do it under the leadership of God. I want to do it under the guidance of God. I want to do it under his rule. I want to do it walking with him, not by myself. I don't want to be rogue, trying to make things work, trying to make things happen. No. I want God's blessing on my life. I want to walk this life with God's blessing on it. I want God's consent. I want God's leadership. I want to go in God's leadership. I want God's authorization. I want God's go ahead. I want to be under him. And with that, I am blessed by him. You see, Adam was blessed, and Adam was under God's rule, under God's leadership, under God's guidance. He wasn't rogue. In chapter 1, he wasn't rogue. And he walked as a blessed man. Isn't that what you want? It's what I want. want God's blessing, God's consent on my life to go forward and subdue and have dominion and have authority in this life that I'm living in now. Authority over what? Dominion over what? Over the flesh, over the sinful desires that war against the Spirit of God in our lives. For further information, drop me an email. The email has been on the screen. God bless you. God bless you. See you again soon. Amen.